DraftKings.com. Dave Lochran with Adam Shar, also known as Adam Share. We're going to get this. We're going to make sure that I don't even have to think about it anymore. It's going to become second nature to me, pronouncing my co-host's name properly. But he never corrected me, so whose fault really is it? How do you pronounce my last name?
Lochran?
Yeah, you just heard me say it. That's why. That's the only reason you know it.
I wasn't listening.
Okay. Solid. I know you've heard it once or twice.
Yeah.
Anyway, we've got 11 games, Adam, and then 3 tomorrow, and then we're into the break.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Tonight looks pretty fun. Tomorrow will feel like the last day of school, and then we get a couple days off.
It definitely does, right? Like it's like Christmas break, except not really, because when like when you go to school, you know what? No, that's not true. Go in terms of going to high school. Was there one thing you would look forward to each day if you had to pick one thing out with high school? Because I have one thing immediately that pops out.
Basketball or weight training class and baseball.
Oh, that's corny. I'm talking about the girls.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, sure. Right. Of course. That was the one thing where Josh, what were you going to say? I heard you pop in there.
Lunch?
I can eat lunch anywhere, but
sure. But it's better than class.
Yeah, of course. But I'd say you get up and you're like, oh man, I got class with her today. Okay. This won't be too bad. And that's kind of what kept me going through it. With this, we put in the work each day, but then you get to play DFS at the end of it all. So it's like, yeah, you get the All-Star break, but it's not like things are all that bad when we're not during a break either. You know, can't complain. Yeah. Well, we got 11 games to talk about. Some big news. I think you would agree that when at least when I saw that Kawhi was questionable, I was writing the deep dive. I think I was like through point guard, or I was almost through point guard, fortunately. And when I saw he was questionable, I'm like, I'm just going to legalize says joints in the courtyard. Yeah, I'm not going to get into my experiences. I had 45 days suspension and an expulsion. So that's for another day. That's before I clean myself up. But when I saw that he was questionable, my immediate response was, okay, Kawhi's out. I'm going to assume that he's not playing, and I'm going to start assuming that these guys gain from it, so on and so forth. I feel like every time he's been ruled questionable midday this season, and obviously I don't have it right in front of me, but I'm almost certain every time he's got like a midday questionable, he's been out.
Yeah, it feels that way. And then especially with it coming up on the All-Star break too, basically everyone that's questionable right now, I'm just assuming doesn't play.
Yeah, it's a good point. Only 3 games tomorrow, 6 teams. Just a couple more pieces of injury news here so we can get lay the foundation before we get started. Kyrie Irving out. The Terry Rozier news was surprising, Adam. So the 2 guards here, which is pretty interesting. And the funny thing is that you don't really have a significant sample with both of these guys off the floor, because whenever Irving's off, Rozier's usually on and usually plays 30 plus minutes when Irving's out. And then the starters that we're looking at here play most of those minutes. So guys like Horford have like 40 minutes with Irving and Rozier off all season, because it just never works out that way.
Yeah, it was a real pain to project. Like Jason Tatum has a 30% usage rate without Rozier and Kyrie on the floor. Like I saw someone tweet that out earlier, and I looked. He's played 96 minutes without them.
Exactly.
Okay, cool.
Right.
Awesome stat. What are you going to do with it?
Right. Less than, what did you say, 96? So 2 games in total if he played all of them. Yeah, it's silly. Cousins out on the second of a back-to-back. Kevin Love out. Mirotic won't play. Kyle Anderson is out. Aaron Baines is out. Ntilikina is out. I think Moutier's still doubtful, but if he was downgraded to out, then I missed that. But we don't expect him to play either. Anything else I'm missing before we get started?
Still waiting for clarification on Valanciunas. We got reports earlier in the week that he was going to sit, that he wasn't going to play both halves of back-to-backs, but we also haven't seen that confirmed whatsoever today.
Right. I made sure to talk about him for a moment or two in the deep dive, just in case, because we saw what he could do when he does play. And Ivan Robb played only 11 minutes. Noah and Valanciunas actually played a combined 39. But given that yesterday was his first game in 2 calendar months, I wouldn't be surprised if he sits. And Kuruk's out as well. That actually might play a role. And Trevion Graham. Yeah. That leads us into this first game, Adam. You like how we do that here? Look at that segue. Brooklyn 8-point favorites, 224 total against the Cavs in Cleveland. Big pace up spot for Cleveland, like big time pace up spot. I think they gain I think it's a plus 6.5 possession differential, plus 6.93 pace differential, which is insane. So obviously average that out. You still got a huge boost here. We'll start with the Cleveland Cavaliers. Sexton and Clarkson both expected to see a lot of run here. And, one of them in Clarkson since the trade deadline, he's got a usage rate over 30%, an assist rate over 20%, per minute rate up over 1. But he's definitely or almost always going to play fewer minutes than Sexton. Rozier confirmed out, by the way. With Sexton, you're going to play more minutes. I still expect him to get, upwards of 36, 37 here, but he's not as efficient. So you have a give and take here with both of these two guards in Cleveland.
Yeah, and I think you have Sexton, or I know you have Sexton projected for more minutes than me too. I'm really not interested in these Cleveland guys with the exception of Larry Nance because we have Chetty back. I don't know how many minutes he plays, but it's another guy that, probably plays mid-20s to low 30s in minutes. You have Dellavedova, you have Stauskas, you have Knight, you have Clarkson, you have Sexton. This backcourt got really crowded really quick. And then you have Chetty, taking up a bunch of wing or power forward minutes. So I'm not really getting to much from this Cleveland team except for Larry Nance, who I still love. No Kevin Love in the lineup helps him. He's over a fantasy point per minute guy. He's in a great spot against the Nets. So I still like him quite a bit. But, Clarkson, Sexton, if I get to a little bit of them, that's fine. But I don't really see either of them as a priority for me today.
Yeah, and I think that's a fair point. I do have Sexton projected for more minutes than you do. I just so Stauskas did play 20 minutes last game. Dellavedova played 26 and a half. Sexton still got to 38, 39 minutes. Obviously not projecting him there, but I think he gets to 35 minutes again. Really not something I'm too concerned about. Could the return of Chetty Osman make a difference? Yeah, I'm sure it could. But you take Kevin Love's 15, 16 minutes out. I know Jigic is playing, so that kind of cancels it out anyway. But I think there are ways to see Sexton still get those minutes. And the reason I say this, Adam, is because even before Alec Burks and Rodney Hood were out, we were seeing Sexton play. He played 42 minutes. His minutes were kind of all over the place, but there's so many blowouts that it's tough to really gauge why. I still think he gets the run. I don't think, as a rookie here on a rebuilding team, I'm not sure Larry Drew's too worried about getting, Delly and Stauskas and all of these guys huge minutes. So that's where I stand on him. But I'm with you in that they're less appealing than they were last game or the game prior to that, for sure. And I love Larry Nance, by the way. I don't even care if he's priced up. He's just been so good, and he faces a Brooklyn team. He's going to get center minutes, significant. I like Larry Nance a lot here. Even if he played every minute at the 4, I wouldn't care. He's just been so productive. Where are you at on Nance? You said you like him, but how do you have him prioritized today?
Yeah, he's one of my favorite plays on the slate. When I did the pod with Dan last night, I said that I liked him a lot in the spot, but to, I was going to be wary of ownership at least because I thought there were a lot of pivots. Then we got Kevin Love ruled out, so it took a lot of my concerns away because Love obviously is a high usage guy who rebounds really well. He's not playing, so it should be Larry Nance's show in the front court here. I know that Ante Zizic is back, but 2 games ago against the Wizards he was active, and we still saw Nance play about 34 minutes, and he lost 2 or 3 minutes to a blowout. So I still haven't projected at 34 minutes. I haven't projected for well over a fantasy point per minute.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not like Marcus Chris needs to see another 23, 24 minutes either. Maybe he will.
I have him at 22 for what it's worth, but
yeah, which is fine. What I'm saying is I think it's more likely that Nance gets back to playing or continues to play 34 minutes or so. And I'm not too worried about the guys behind him.
correct.
He's just playing too well. There's no reason not to have Larry Nance on the floor. And it's a very solid spot against Brooklyn. Pace up spot, more possessions, more rebounding opportunities, shot blocking, you name it. And Larry Nance also is not a bad passer either. So he's a jack of all trades, and I like those guys, especially 6,700 on DraftKings. On the Brooklyn side, Rodions Kurucs is out, and as you mentioned, Treveon Graham is also out of this one, which means that Alan Crabb, who saw 31 minutes, do we have a starting lineup confirmed yet?
No, I'm really curious to see what it is, though.
what's funny is like Crab and Levert could return to the starting lineup, but I wouldn't be surprised to see Crab enter the starting lineup and Levert continue to come off the bench. I do think Crab gets 30 plus minutes again tonight, though.
Yeah, my best guess is Crab and Hollis Jefferson enter the starting lineup. I have I have Crab at 32 minutes, Harris at 32 minutes, Hollis Jefferson at 26, Carroll at 26, Russell at 34. So it basically, those guys being out, I don't know exactly how the rotation breaks down, but those guys being out makes me really interested in just mixing and matching from this Nets team. Russell is clearly my favorite guy here. He's in a great spot. The only issue is just that it's a really loaded position for him today.
Like Doncic,
But
$300 more, yeah.
yeah, behind him though, you get 32 minutes from Joe Harris or Allen Crabbe at cheap price tags in a really good matchup. Jared Allen at 5K is fine, even though the center position is absolutely stacked. Karis LeVert at 5,200, I have at 26 minutes. He could easily get to around 30. Like Russell's again my favorite, but you just have so many cheap guys here. I don't want to play them together, but mixing in Crabbe in some lineups, Harris and others, Hollis Jefferson and others, it gives you a lot of upside for cheap.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm not trying to play 4 Nets, but if I end up on Russell and a $3,700 Crabbe, I don't have an issue with that at all. He's cheap. It's not like I don't see him cannibalizing each other's production. Like Crabbe is a totally different player. He relies on specifically on scoring, and there's going to be enough shots to go around. I think in terms of prioritizing, I'm pretty much with you. Who did you have second behind Russell? Because Russell's
Crabbe.
clearly first. Okay.
Crabbe at 3,700.
So I have Crabbe second. And then after that, honestly, it's kind of a toss-up for me, whether it be Hollis Jefferson or Damari Carroll, those guys mixing in. I mean, Joe Harris probably plays, I don't know, 32 minutes here as well. So those guys to me are all secondary, but I do like Russell a lot, and Crabbe at that price is solid. You mentioned Allen. Center is so unbelievably deep tonight that
Yep.
I don't even know if it's worth it to go there. He has played 29 minutes in back-to-back games, which is somewhat nice, but Atkinson can pull the floor out from under him at any point. So
yeah, no, I mean I agree with you because there's cheap centers too. Whether it's one of the Memphis guys, whether you want to go back to Zubats at 4K, there's options all over the pricing range at center.
Right, exactly. Good matchup though. I mean, Cleveland might play at a slow pace, Adam, but when you talk about efficiency, it really does not get any better than this. It doesn't. Like no team allows a higher field goal percentage, second highest 3-point percentage, 8th most points per game, despite playing at a bottom 3 pace. The only downside for Brooklyn is pace, unless you have something else, but I can't find it.
Nope, Cleveland's really bad.
Well said. Let's talk about Milwaukee and Indiana. We've got 11 games to touch on here. Pacers at home against Milwaukee. Bucks 4.5-point favorites, 219 total. I'll kick it off with Bojan Bogdanovic, a Milwaukee team that allows the most 3-point attempts in the league, playing at the 4th fastest pace since the start of January. I think he could be an interesting play here. You're getting him at a decent price, particularly on FanDuel. Where do you stand on Indiana? Break down the Pacers, Adam.
I have almost nothing from this game. I agree with you on Bogdanovic. I think it's a good spot for him and Wes Matthews in terms of how they play and what Milwaukee allows defensively. But it's just really hard for me to get to either of these guys as any sort of priority on this slate. Miles Turner, again, I really like. He's been very, very productive. We're seeing around 32 minutes in competitive games. But he's in a price range where, you have a Pascal Siakam playing without Leonard, you have DeAndre Ayton, you have Montrezl Harrell, all in this price range, and it just gets really tough to even. Yeah, Nurkic too. Yeah, and so it just gets really tough to prioritize him at all. I'm cool with whatever I get out of really any of the starters on this Indiana team, but I don't expect it to be very much.
I'm in exactly the same spot, so I won't waste time repeating anything you just said. I do like Bogdanovic. Because like on DraftKings, I'm pretty sure we had his projected ownership really low, and he is playing 33 minutes per game since Oladipo went out, and a bunch of those have been blowouts. So I could see Bogdanovic playing 35, 36 minutes here. Those are the reasons, and we'll see how Wesley Matthews affects it in this game. I still think that's a decent spot, and in a situation where they could absolutely use his precision from beyond the arc. But really just because Right now we have him at what's his projected ownership? 5% on DraftKings. FanDuel a little bit more because that price is really favorable. Boyan Bogdanovic on FanDuel we have 15%. So I don't think he's a terrible play, but I can't see myself getting to Turner here or even Collison with so many guards being priced in that range that I like more. I'm with you here. What about the Milwaukee Bucks, Adam?
Even less interested in the Bucks than I am in the Pacers. Pace down spot for them against a good defense. I don't really see myself not even don't really. I don't see myself getting to Giannis at his price tag when you have guys like Jokic at, obviously a different position, but a much cheaper price tag in a great spot. The same concern as we always have with Giannis, where even in competitive games, you normally get 33, 34 minutes. And while he's really, really good on a per minute basis, you just have to kind of factor in that he's not playing as many minutes as some other guys, and he's more expensive than a lot of really high upside guys on this slate. And then, when you look at Middleton, Bledsoe, Brogdon, in a vacuum, all of their price tags are perfectly fine, but there are just guys around them that I would just so much rather play. I don't really anticipate getting to anything from Milwaukee.
Yeah. With Giannis at his price, I'll say this much. In terms of upside, I mean, it's unparalleled outside of a couple of guys, right? But you're seeing this each and every time he's on the schedule. When you have a lot of these top shelf centers, Adam, we've been leaning towards the Jokic's, and I know that Karl Anthony Towns hasn't exactly impressed over his past several games, but Towns at $1,000 discount. We've been leaning towards him, even Embiid in some spots, particularly before the trade deadline. Giannis has been a tough guy to make a priority. Above 11K on DraftKings on most nights, of course, and up around 12K on FanDuel. That's just the way it's been.
Yeah, I've gone from rostering him like every slate at the beginning of the season to barely ever having him.
I was thinking about how funny that was the other day. I mean, this was a guy who it didn't matter. You were playing Giannis in every spot, but he was also, the first month and a half of the season, I think he was first or second in minutes played in the league.
Yeah, he was playing a ton.
I think 37, 38 minutes, and then it came down significantly. That to me, at that price point, 4 or 5 minutes is worth a lot when you're 1 3/4 fantasy point per minute guy. Those extra, 10 fantasy points come in handy. Do you want to move on though? Because I think I'm with you. This is not a game that I have a whole lot of interest in.
Yep.
All right. Well, then we'll talk Boston and Detroit. This one a little bit different. Boston is still favored by 4 points, 210 total at home against the Pistons. Kyrie Irving is out. Terry Rozier is out. So this is the first time we've had this happen all season long. Rozier's been healthy in every game Irving's missed. And then we have Aaron Baines out for whatever that's worth. Now, they are playing their second of a back-to-back. Guys like Al Horford played 35 minutes last night. So the older gentleman, we might want to consider that a little bit more in depth, especially with the position having so much depth. But now, Adam, you're looking at Brad Wanamaker, talking about Marcus Smart. Let's do this. What are your minute projections, and we'll see if we're on the same page here. What is your projected starting lineup for the Celtics? If they already released one, my apologies. I haven't seen it.
I haven't seen one. I think it's a toss-up between whether it's Wanamaker just filling in for Rozier or if Jaylen Brown starts and Marcus Smart slides over to the point.
That's what I thought it would be. Now, could be wrong. I think the only real two ways that the only two things that I would see happening, as you said, Smart either slides over, Brown moves to the 2, or Wanamaker starts, Smart stays at the 2, and Brown continues to come off the bench. Even if Smart moves to the point, you're still probably expecting a good amount of run from Wanamaker, unless, of course, I don't know, you see PJ Dozier get some minutes. I think he's back up on the roster. What are your minute projections here? We got to break this down.
Yeah, I mean, I have Wanamaker at 25 minutes. I have Smart at 34, Tatum at 33, Morris, Horford at 30 apiece, Brown at 32, Hayward at 28, Tice at 18, and Semi at 10.
Okay. So we're off 2 minutes somewhere. I'm not gonna spend time trying to figure it out right now.
It's entirely possible. I'm just bad at math.
No, I mean, same with me. Same with me. But I have Wanamaker at 27. So
Okay. Yeah.
I don't. It's not a big discrepancy there whatsoever. If he starts, probably would still keep him. I think Wanamaker probably plays in the high 20s regardless. But
Yeah,
it's
I'm not
still tough
I'm
to
not changing my minutes projection because I think whether he starts or not, I think the closing lineup in a competitive game is Smart, Brown,
Brown.
Tatum, Morris, Horford,
Absolutely. You would sure think so. You
or Hayward
absolutely
over
think
one of the wings. It doesn't matter.
right, but not Wanamaker is what you're trying to
Right.
say.
Right.
Yeah,
Because like Hayward can run point too if they wanted him over Smart.
sure. We've seen him do it in Utah plenty of times. Uh, eh, do you have interest in Wanamaker?
Not really. I mean, he's 3,200, so if he ends up in some lineups, that's fine. But in 25 minutes, I have him projected for like 19 DraftKings points, so that's certainly not breaking the slate for me.
Yeah, I really don't have an issue with it. This is not a prior. Like, I'll put it to you this way: I liked Delon Wright a lot more than yesterday, a lot more than I like Wanamaker today. To
Yeah.
kind of put it in context, and it's not like Delon Wright is a superstar. It's just I have him at I think 22 fantasy points uh, across 27 minutes, and we're really just guessing because the truth is you can take the per minute production, right? But he's played what a total of 230 minutes on the entire season. We're really just guessing here.
Yeah. And
But
if you wanted
he's an
another way that he
undrafted
lose, oh, what were you gonna say?
I just said he's an undrafted rookie. Like, who the
Oh
hell
yeah.
knows?
Yeah, and I
Uh,
mean, if you wanted another way where he potentially loses minutes against this Detroit team, it wouldn't be shocking if you just saw big like Tyson and Horford front court for a stretch, and Boston just played bigger without Wanamaker out there. So there's a lot of ways for him to just not play a ton of minutes.
I'm glad you brought that up because we always talk about how we see lineups change against this Detroit front court. I wouldn't be surprised to see that happen. We won't get to Detroit yet, but I want to know where you stand on Horford. Well, actually, first, just quickly, do you like Marcus Smart?
Yeah. Marcus Smart terrifies me all the time, but
Mhm.
I think he plays a lot of minutes and he should have the ball in his hands a lot. I have him projected for about a 17.5% usage rate, 25% assist percentage, which is what he has without Kyrie on the floor this year. As you mentioned earlier, it's really tough to get a read on without Rozier out there as well, but I don't think it should hurt him. So at a really cheap price tag, I like him. I like all the Celtics
Me too.
as secondary plays. Like none of these guys are jumping out to me as the best play on the slate or anything like that, but they're all underpriced to where I think at least one of them probably has a good game here.
Yeah, look, I agree with you. Um, when it comes to Smart, I would like to see him slide over to the point. Now, is that to say that Wanamaker starts at the point, he's going to, handle, he's going to bring the ball up the court and control the offense? No, of course not. But having Marcus Smart start at the point alongside Brown and Tatum and Morris and Horford definitely gives him a lot of responsibility as a ball handler and just more so would be solidified if that's the case. So I will keep an eye on that. I do want to see what the starting lineup looks like before determining how much I like Marcus Smart. With in terms of secondary plays, like Gordon Hayward, yeah, Gordon Hayward's perfectly reasonable. You have a slightly bigger sample, 126 minutes with Irving and Rozier off, 1.19 fantasy points per minute, 23% usage, 26% assists, 13% rebounding. Still not a sample you feel comfortable with, but it's bigger than 40 minutes. So he's fine. Marcus Morris, fine. Really, like you said, they're all secondary plays. I do want to ask you about Horford, though, because he's played 5 back-to-backs this season. He hasn't exceeded 30 minutes or 30 fantasy points in any of them. And he's actually played, in a lot of these games, this back-to-backs 24, 21, 23, 28, 29. Of course, I didn't look into too much context whether they were blowouts or not. But I think Horford to me, whereas he was a top mid-range option yesterday, is less appealing to me today for a couple of reasons. One, he did play 35 minutes. He is an older player on the second of a back-to-back. And two, center is so deep that if I get away from Horford, I'm not thinking, oh man, not having him could really, really hurt me here. And it's not like it's a perfect spot against Andre Drummond. So Horford a little bit less appealing than I initially thought I would like him.
Yeah, I mean, much more appealing for me on DraftKings since I don't have to play him at center.
Sure.
Because I completely agree with your center point there. And I haven't projected for 30 minutes today. Yesterday, I had him at 32 or 33. So I do expect him to play fewer minutes than he did yesterday. But he's just so productive without Kyrie on the floor that as a $6,200 power forward, I'm definitely still interested.
No, yeah, right, which is perfectly fine. And hey, is it reasonable to say that, with Aaron Baines out and for whatever it's worth, Robert Williams out, that his minutes are solidified even on the back-to-back? Sure. I mean, Daniel Tice played 13 minutes. Horford's 35 yesterday. So maybe Tice plays 20 to Horford's 28. It's possible. But I think because of the front court injuries, he's a little bit more inclined to play more minutes than I would expect him to if everybody was healthy. What do you make of Detroit, Adam?
Much less interested in them than Boston, obviously, since they're not really missing anyone of any importance. Tough matchup, going against Boston. I think that Drummond and Blake is pretty much where it starts and ends as usual. Not a terrible matchup for the bigs. Drummond has had success in this spot before, if I remember correctly. The problem is just the position. I mean, there's obvious upside for Drummond at 9,100, but he's up over 10K on FanDuel. On DraftKings, he's 9,100. Jokic is 10,100. I really would like to find that $1,000. He's $1,700 more expensive than Nurkic. He's $2,400 more expensive than like DeAndre Ayton. So it just becomes almost impossible for me to get to him with any sort of regularity. And then Blake, he projects better for me, but again, guys in his price range that I like better at different positions. But you have Luka, you have Beal, you have D'Angelo Russell. You have a lot of guys in that upper $8,000 range that I like a little bit better than Blake. You have guys at the power forward position that are cheaper, like Morris and Tatum. So it's just really, really difficult to prioritize anything from the Pistons.
Yep. I don't really even need to say anything else. I just was not getting to any Drummond here or Blake. Drummond's in no man's land at that price point.
Yep.
You can get way cheaper and have some really good centers. You can get a little bit more expensive and have some really good centers. Do I think that he cannot produce against Horford and Boston's undersized front court? No, of course not. But I don't see myself getting there. And Adam, I'll continue to hold the same opinion on Reggie Jackson as I've had when Ish Smith is healthy. I'd put him at 28, 29 minutes again when Ish Smith is healthy and on the court. I expect him to cut into Reggie Jackson's minutes. If even by a few, it's enough to keep him under or right around that 30 mark. And for me, that's enough to keep him out of my lineups now that his price tag has come up.
Yeah, I mean, even if I put him at 32 minutes, he still doesn't get there for me.
Right. You want to move on then?
Yep.
All right. Making decent pace here. Not bad. Toronto and Washington. We've got the Raptors with no Kawhi Leonard. And kind of an interesting team because CJ Miles is gone. I'll get to my point in a second. I'm not acting like these guys had a huge impact. Delon Wright's gone. Joval gone, but he hadn't been in the rotation for 2 full months. Toronto's still 9.5-point favorites with a 232 total. What's interesting here, though, is Jeremy Lin. So Fred VanVleet is out, right? Jeremy Lin is expected to play, but I wouldn't be – I actually had interest in Lin earlier in the day before we got all of the Boston news and before we got all this value, because I'm honestly thinking when you look at Toronto's last game, Adam, and they faced Brooklyn, beat them by 2 points, high-scoring game. Nick Nurse ran with a compressed 9-player lineup, and Anunoby, as it seems, was getting backup. I think he was actually getting some backup point guard minutes at a stretch because the guards here or the bench in its entirety was Patrick McCaw, Norman Powell, Marc Gasol, and OG Anunoby with no VanVleet, with no Delon Wright, with no CJ Miles. So if Jeremy Lin does play, I wouldn't be surprised to see him potentially jump into a Fred VanVleet role where he sees maybe 25 minutes here off the bench. What do you make of this Toronto team? We'll start with the backcourt and just how the rotation looks first.
I mean, if he jumps into the Fred VanVleet role, then he's starting and playing 32 minutes.
Well, I'm talking about. Sorry, I'm talking. No, because Fred Van Vliet. I should rephrase this. With Kawhi healthy, Van Vliet was playing what 25, 26 minutes a game.
Yeah, right. Yeah, yeah.
Right. So
If that.
I'm saying I phrase it. I'm saying, is Nick Nurse going to use him as in a Van Vliet type role going forward until Van Vliet returns? So now we have Kawhi Leonard back. I phrased it poorly, so I could see why I would confuse you there. With Van Vliet and Kawhi out, how do you see this rotation looking? And do you see Jeremy Lin getting significant minutes in his debut?
Yeah, I mean, I expect him to basically take the Van Vliet role for while he's out. And with Kawhi out in this game, that would mean Jeremy Lin starting and playing a bunch of minutes here. The only reason that I'm not super confident that happens is because it is his first game with the team. So I don't know, how caught up he is on things. But I would assume that he starts alongside Kyle Lowry here and that he plays, upper 20s, low 30s in minutes.
Right. I right now have him. So if Leonard played, I was going to put Jeremy Lin around 23 minutes or so, maybe a little bit more, because the thing is, look at who they have. So Delon Wright and Miles aren't like big feature pieces, of course, but do you really want to run Patrick McCaw played a season high 20 minutes last game? That's the most he's played all year. Where do these minutes get distributed? Let's just say Lin plays. We'll give him 27 minutes or whatever. What do you have, Matt? So we can
32.
You have Lin at 32 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
I mean, I basically gave him the Fred VanVleet role.
And how many? Right. And how many Anunoby minutes do you have?
14.
14. Patrick McCaw, back down
20.
to 12 or something. You have him at 20 again?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then what about Norman Powell?
25.
Okay. Danny Green?
32.
32. Okay. So of all of these options outside of Lin, and I'm assuming, do we need to talk about Lowry or do you like him here?
I mean, I like him.
Quite a bit.
Yeah, I like him.
Okay. Do you see any interest in any of these secondary options not named Jeremy Lin?
Yeah, it's a good spot for these guys. I liked Siakam even when Leonard was in because we don't really see much of a production hit for him. But with Leonard out, it certainly doesn't hurt. It's a good spot for rebounding. It's a bad defense. There's a lot to like about Siakam, I think. Very affordable price tag as well. Danny Green at 4,100 against one of the worst teams defensively in the league, I think has some appeal. Granted, there are a lot of high upside guys in that price range. So it's not like he's, head and shoulders above, other guys. But I think that, Lin, Lowry, Siakam all are really good plays, assuming Lin starts. And then, you have Green as kind of a secondary play.
Siakam is a 0.98 or 97 fantasy point per minute guy with Leonard on the court. I think 1.04 with him off. So it certainly doesn't help him or it doesn't hurt him at all. Like you said. Yeah. Siakam was a guy that, like, you pretty much saying the same thing here. Even if Leonard played in this spot, I like him quite a bit. I do think that Lowry, though, because the interesting thing about Lowry is having no Fred VanVleet. Yes, Jeremy Lin steps into the starting lineup potentially or gets, significant minutes. I still think that Lowry is in a really good spot to excel. I mean, you have no Leonard, no VanVleet. Lin in his first game with the team. Lowry at 7,300 on DraftKings specifically. I do like him quite a bit. And then the front court, I prefer Siakam over Ibaka. My problem with Ibaka is so he played 29 minutes in Gasol's first game, 26 minutes in Gasol's second game. Gasol played 19 and then 22 minutes. Do we see Gasol move up to 24 minutes here and then we see a direct split down the middle with Serge Ibaka? I would not be surprised if that was the case for the rest of the season.
Yeah, neither would I. And even with Ibaka projected for 26 minutes tonight, I guess, a perfectly fine option, but just not someone that I'm getting to a whole lot.
Yeah, because when he was getting upwards of 32 minutes, it's a lot better than hoping he plays 26 or 27 minutes. And a guy in Marc Gasol backing him up, like things could go wrong really quickly there. Do you have
right? Like I've been projected for about 1.3 points per minute. It's just that I only have him at 26 minutes.
Right, exactly. And we know that Siakam's not going to be affected by it. So, especially on DraftKings, where both of them are power forward eligible, or I'm sorry, FanDuel as well, right? Where both of them are power forward eligible, it's just easier to go there. So Siakam is actually $100 less on FanDuel than Ibaka. To me, that's a pretty easy decision to make. By secondary plays, I meant, are you looking at an Anunoby or a Powell or anybody else here that stands out as someone that might get opportunity or enough opportunity?
If $3,600 Powell gets into some lineups, I wouldn't be surprised or upset. I would be shocked if I get any Anunoby.
I wouldn't be surprised if Powell started, honestly.
No, neither would I. If Lynn doesn't start, I think Powell does.
Yeah, if Lynn doesn't. So right now, what I expect, not expect, but what I would not be surprised by is if Powell starts and Lynn ends up playing like 26 minutes off the bench.
Right.
Which even in that case would not be terrible, especially because he'd stagger some minutes with, or he would play. But I would expect to see backup minutes behind Lowry and then a decent amount of minutes, or at least enough alongside of him to get his minutes up there, which wouldn't be bad.
Yeah, and like I said, I had him at 32. Like I think even cutting back to like 28, you're still going to get plenty of Jeremy Lin, and it's probably a safer projection. Definitely a safer projection.
Yeah, no question. What do you have on the Washington Wizards?
Bradley Beal, if Thomas Satoransky's out. Still waiting on that news. He missed last game. His wife was expected to give birth to their child. Haven't heard anything else about that. If he's not back, you essentially get Bradley Beal playing point guard again. He's averaged 1.42 points per minute this season without either one of Satoransky or Wall on the floor. You get a 30% usage rate, like a 32.5%. Or sorry, a 32.5% usage rate, like a 30% assist percentage, and he would be a top play for me if Satoransky's out, playing probably like 40 minutes. If Satoransky's in, then it's a little tough. I take a couple minutes away from Beal and end up putting him at like 37 or 38. You cut the usage and the assist percentage a little bit, and he ends up being a decent but not great play.
Right. Yeah, I didn't know what the personal issues were. Yeah, so his wife is expected to go into labor, huh? Did she have the baby?
No idea.
Okay, because that's probably important, right? Like if she's still expected, she's still, 48 hour in labor for 48 hours or something, and Satoransky's just hanging with her. Well,
like it's amazing that we don't have a report yet because the Wizards didn't play yesterday, so I assume they had shoot around today. Was he there or was he not there?
Exactly. Did she give birth or not?
Right.
Give us something. Anything else with the Bobby Portis or Ariza? Anybody you haven't talked about here?
I'm not really getting to any of those guys. Josh and I talked about it a lot this morning, but Bobby Portis played 32 minutes last game. Bobby Portis shot 6 of 10 from 3. I think that you're going to see a very fluid front court between Portis, Parker, and Green, where Scott Brooks goes with the hot hand on 2 of them. So Portis could play 32 minutes again, or Portis could give up 6 minutes to Jabari Parker. I really just don't want to play anyone who's popular from this front court tonight or any other night for the most part. And I, on this particular slate, just don't really see getting to any of it.
Yeah, neither am I. Could I see Bobby Portis as a decent tournament play? Sure. But again, you keep coming back to there are so many good players priced right in that exact same tier.
Right. Like, how do I get the Bobby Portis over Pascal Siakam?
I know. Yep. It's really tough. Or over DeAndre Ayton at center, who I like quite a bit.
Or over Al Horford.
Or I might, even Al Horford. Yeah, exactly. I was going to say I might push back a bit on that, but I don't think I can. Like, plus, even on a back-to-back, Horford's minutes are probably more secure than Portis. Even on
that's the thing. I like Horford less than Siakam and Ayton, but it's still like any issue that you raise for Horford, you can raise it times like 2 or 3 for Portis.
Right, exactly. If you told me Portis was locked into 30 minutes today, this would be an entirely different conversation.
Right, then I would have him projecting similarly to Horford.
Exactly. All right, let's talk about the Knicks and the Sixers. The Sixers can't beat the Celtics, and this has just been an ongoing issue. What I don't understand is you're trying to run everything through Embiid and Simmons, which on most nights works. But the Celtics are so good at flooding the paint, take Simmons out of the game, and then Al Horford is one of the more underrated defenders in the league. He does a solid job on Embiid, and they double him when they need to, and he can't pass. He can't kick it out from those double teams. Why wouldn't you let Butler and a guy like Harris, who, do you know Harris had the third highest pick and roll frequency as a ball handler, as a forward in basketball with the Clippers this year? Why wouldn't you let Butler and Harris run the offense more with more responsibility, even if it means Simmons has to play off the ball or Simmons is off the court for more than he normally would be? You can't beat him with the methods that Brett Brown has used. You just can't.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Pisses me off, Adam. Anyway, we've got a back-to-back for the Sixers today. 9.5-point favorites against the Knicks. Who do you want to start with? We've got a 222.5 total.
I'm scared, but I'm not really high on anyone on Philadelphia, so I guess I'll start with Embiid because I like him more than the rest of the guys. I think, I have him in for 34 minutes here. You see a little bit of a usage hit, but not too much. A little bit of a rebounding hit, but not much. He's seemingly the least impacted by Tobias Harris coming over. It's a good matchup for him. It's just that he's more expensive than Towns. He's more expensive than Jokic. It makes it really, really tough to play him with any sort of frequency. And then Ben Simmons, I'm still very concerned about the rebounding numbers. He's not getting time at power forward. That goes to Tobias Harris now. He's over the 3 games since Harris came, I have Simmons with a 7.5% expected rebounding percentage based on his rebound chances per 36 minutes. Butler I have at like 6.8%, and then Harris at about 11%. So I don't really like Simmons here. I don't really like Butler. I don't really like Harris. Harris would be my favorite out of the 3 because he's the cheapest. But it just kind of is a spot where it's a good matchup for them. But there are a lot of other guys on the slate at every position standing out.
And another thing, too, is if this game gets out of control, not to say that you take blowouts into consideration early on, but on the second of a back-to-back, Brown may look to limit Embiid here regardless. I would not be surprised. Embiid, there's this overblown notion that, it's a back-to-back. He can't play. Well, he's been perfectly fine on him, and he's played plenty of minutes. But this is the New York Knicks. And you know what it comes down to is I don't have to worry about that when I have guys like Jokic and Towns in really, really, really good spots at exactly or almost the same price. Actually, both of them cheaper. I don't need to worry myself with that, really.
Right, and it's an 11-game slate. So while Embiid might be the lowest owned out of the 3, and on like a 5 or a 6-game slate, that would be a pretty good spot to take a stand. I'd rather just play like my favorite play on the slate in Jokic and then be different somewhere else.
Yep, exactly. Emmanuel Mudiay is out for this game. Thank you for the timing, basketball gods. Dennis Smith Jr. He's been a bit of a letdown over his past couple games, Adam, but I did want to mention this to you. So the minutes, obviously, it kind of sucks that he's played 30 and 31 over his last 2. And you got Kadeem Allen. Kadeem Allen getting some heavy run off the bench, man. 32, 28 minutes. Would you look at that? But Dennis Smith Jr. is, since joining the Knicks, he's still averaging 13 potential assists per game, 82.5 touches. To put that in perspective, Kadeem Allen's second since he joined the team since Dennis Smith came with 5.5 potential assists per game. So not even half. And then Kevin Knox is second in touches with 54. So 30 fewer touches per game than Smith. He is still running this offense whenever he's on the floor. He also has a 29% usage rate, 37% assist rate, 107 fantasy points per minute. But one of the interesting things here is the Sixers play at a top 6 pace. And they're on the second of a back-to-back, whatever. But of the 5 games that he's played with the Knicks, the teams he's faced have an average pace of 98 possessions per 48. That would rank 28th among all 30 teams. So this is the first matchup he gets where it's like a strong pace-up spot. Is Dennis Smith priced in an area where you're still willing to roster him at 63 on DraftKings and 72 on FanDuel, and or neither?
Yeah, he is, not with as much frequency as on some other slates recently where he's been, my second or third highest owned guy. I don't anticipate getting to like 60 or 70% Dennis Smith Jr. tonight like I have recently, but I still like him. He's still one of my favorite point guards, especially in that price range. The upper end of the point guard / shooting guard positions are really, really deep, but in the mid range, it's not quite as deep. So, I do like Dennis Smith Jr.
So do I. Finally, a decent pace-up spot. I mean, hell, he's faced the Pistons twice, Memphis, Cleveland. Not to say Cleveland, he should have been better there, of course, but Toronto, middle of the league in pace. But 4 of those games were bottom 5, 6 in pace. And as I gave you the average there, it's finally a pace up spot. I still expect him to play 30 plus regardless of scenario. Aside from that, though, I don't really get to anybody here. Although there's one guy I would say to keep a bit of an eye on. Mitchell Robinson's playing more minutes lately, Adam, and his per minute production's actually been solid. Like every game he's 24 minutes, 28 fantasy points, 22, 30 fantasy points, 15, 26, 24, 31, 18 and 9, 24, 22. One game over his last 10 has he produced less than a fantasy point per minute. So if he does get 24 minutes per game going forward, and DeAndre Jordan continues to see limited run, and Luke Cornett is, all but washed out of the rotation, I think Robinson's the guy to keep an eye on. I do.
Yeah, going forward, I agree. On this particular slate, I'm really glad that we've gotten a bunch of value, so I don't have to worry too much about anyone on this team.
Yeah, no need. But I'm saying, like, not tonight. I think it's worth bringing up because it looks like he's trending in the right direction. If you start getting 25 minutes a night from Robinson and he's still at 4K, it's going to be a pretty strong spot for him in the lineup, of course. So, but aside from Smith, I don't see myself getting anywhere here. Anybody else for the Knicks or on this game at all?
No, I mean, on FanDuel, if you want to take a chance on, the cheap guys as your probable drop, I think that's perfectly fine. On DraftKings, I don't really see getting to these guys because who knows how many minutes they play. They almost likely play like in the mid-20s and are useless.
All right. Well said. Chicago and Memphis. The Bulls are 2-point favorites. God, imagine they have to sit through this game for 48 minutes. 209 total. You do have reasonably priced options. Chris Dunn, I believe he's still questionable on this one.
Yeah, as far as I know.
Yeah, Dunn and a few others. This is just a game almost in its entirety, especially not knowing what's going on with Joval and seeing Ivan Robb play 11 minutes last game and being priced up given the health of this front court potentially. I don't know if I'm getting anywhere here.
I kind of hate how much I have from this game.
Okay, let's hear it.
Like, not even as far as guys that I love, it's just their price points. So I'm assuming Chris Dunn does not play. So I gave Zach LaVine a bump for his assist percentage in addition to still being a 30% usage guy. So he's getting in a ton of my lineups at only 7,300 on DraftKings.
If Dunn doesn't play, then I'm perfectly all right. There's two different sides here. Yeah, if Dunn doesn't play, then big difference. But go ahead.
If Dunn plays, I still like LaVine. I just like him more if Dunn doesn't play.
All right. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I mean, there's him. You have Lauri Markkanen playing like 37, 38 minutes a night, posting like a 17.7% rebounding percentage over the last month without Portis or Parker out there, getting a ton of center minutes. So, not a priority for me, but still someone that I like. If Dunn is out, you have $3,500 Ryan Arcidiacono, who played 34 minutes the last time Dunn was out. Again, he's not exciting. You don't get a lot of usage. LaVine has the ball in his hands more than he will, but he's $3,500. So, any of those guys I think are reasonable if Dunn's out. LaVine's my favorite. He's the one I'm getting the most of. It's just that I didn't think I would even get that much from Chicago here.
Okay. If Dunn sits, yeah, Arcidiacono is going to see a lot. Well, we saw it before. We've seen this play itself out this season. When Dunn is out, Arcidiacono gets minutes, and I would expect 30 plus minutes here, maybe mid 30s a minutes. And he's not very good, but you wouldn't really need him to be great at that price. Don't have an issue with that. But really, I have a tough time prioritizing these guys is the thing. Lowest total on the slate. Well, actually, no, it's not. The one we'll get to next is one of the lowest totals, which I say it a lot too. That's I know, Ray. He said, damn, Lavi, Adam hit Arcidiacono's name right on the head. Sure did. Sure did. Good stuff. I had noticed it as well. I don't know. To me, it's pretty difficult. And Joval hasn't played in 2 months. He was phenomenal yesterday. Like, just downright nasty. And it's not a surprise because how many times have we seen him do this in the past where he plays 21, 23 minutes and has 38, 40 fantasy points? It's not like this is a mirage or a fluke. He can do that. It's the fact that it's been 2 calendar months since he played. He played his first game yesterday, and now you're on a second of a back-to-back. But let me pose this question to you. If he doesn't play, Joakim Noah, how many minutes does Noah get? Now, Noah and Joval did not play any minutes together. Thank God. That would be insane. But Ivan Rabb played about 4 minutes with Valanciunas towards the end of the first half. He and Noah combined, Valanciunas and Noah combined for 39 minutes. Ivan Rabb was clearly not preferred here. And I don't think it was specifically based on matchup. If Valanciunas is out, what do you see the center rotation looking like? Do you expect Rob to play some minutes alongside Noah? Do you expect him to play 28 and Noah plays, I don't know, 20, 24, maybe if they play a couple alongside each other? What do you make of this? Because I really wouldn't be surprised if Joval sits.
Yeah, I have. If Joval sits, I think Noah plays somewhere in the 22 to 24 minute range, and you get around 30 minutes from Ivan Rabb. Part of his minutes issue yesterday was really, really early foul trouble against LaMarcus Aldridge, like 3 minutes into the game foul trouble. And then he just kind of didn't really play much in the second half after, I think, picking up another early foul or something.
He only finished with 3 fouls, though. So
it was he was taken out 3 minutes into the game because of foul trouble, so it limited him early. And then Joval was going nuts, and he just didn't really come back for many minutes. So if Joval's out, and we already saw 2 games ago that they played Rabb and Noah alongside each other a lot. So I think that you could see a few minutes from them, together. You probably get around 24 from Noah, the other 24 at center from Rabb, and then like 6 backing up Jaren Jackson.
There's a documentary that came out that was called, I think, Finding Giannis or something. Yeah, Finding Giannis. And who do you think the only team in the league was? It's not either of these two that didn't even scout Giannis Antetokounmpo.
The Wizards.
The New York Knicks.
Okay.
I can't say I'm surprised.
Don't they have his brother? No, did they have his brother? I know he's on Dallas now.
They did, yes, but that was a little while ago, I thought.
Yeah.
I thought that was a few years ago. He has 2 brothers.
Kostas was with the Knicks, I thought.
Yes, I believe so. He was No. It's the other one. Maybe not. Maybe I don't even know. I'm looking at it now. I know he has 2. I'm almost certain he has 2 brothers, though. Thought so. Yeah, no, it was Thanasis.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah.
Pretty sure he has a nickname because I don't remember that being the name he went by. But yeah, he's got 2 brothers. He played 2015 for the Knicks. I knew it was a little while ago. Actually got some minutes there towards the end of the year. Do you want to talk about anything else for this team for Memphis?
There's some value here. I mean, Conley being back obviously takes a lot of the shine off of DeLon Wright, but Avery Bradley at 3,400, I don't expect 50 points again, but I think that there's still some upside there. I think he should probably be around like 4K. Not a huge priority, but I think it's worth mentioning.
All right, fair enough. We got 5 games to go here. Hey, by the way, February 15th, 2 days from now, or what is that? Yeah, 2 days from now is going to be the 1-year anniversary of awesomemode.com, and we're excited to celebrate it with you guys. You have allowed us to do this. You have made it possible. If we didn't have viewers, if we didn't have subs, we would not be around. So to thank each and every one of you boys and girls out there to help support us in the first year, we're giving away 1 all-access annual membership, $700 value, to 1 loyal viewer of our YouTube channel. It's very simple. All you got to do is like the video and leave a comment. Let us know what you're going to do during the All-Star break to satiate the desire to play DFS, to quell those withdrawals, Adam, because they start getting rough. What are you doing? You going to Miami?
Yeah, going to Miami. Probably will play hockey for like 2 days, because that's normally how long I can stand playing hockey for. Played NASCAR last year. That was kind of fun.
Oh, cool. Yeah, it's I try and get into hockey. I'm not very good at it. I play hockey personally, but when it comes to DFS hockey, I haven't followed like the league in such a long time that I'm just taking our content and throwing
Yeah.
darts. But it is good content.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I
that's good. Right.
It's
Well,
also
let
the
us
most boring DFS sport to sweat, I think.
Yeah, it's tough. It is. I look at my score, it's like 30 points at 10:30 PM.
Right.
Like, oh, that's actually decent tonight? Yeah, it's crazy.
Right.
But, let us know. What are you gonna do during the All-Star break? All you gotta do is comment in the section down below, not on this side, not in the chat, but down below, and like the video to be entered to win. And, you can enter on every video throughout the day to increase your odds of winning. You can also enter on a separate contest for an annual all-access pass, $700 value, on our Twitter handle. So go to awesemo_com, at awesemo_com, and check the pinned tweet for more information. We'll be announcing the winners on the last live before lock. So the NBA All-Star, so it'll be actually, you know what? Is it? I think it's tonight. Wednesday. It says Wednesday, February 13th. That's the read I've been given. Josh, is it tonight or tomorrow?
I thought it was tonight.
Okay. Well, we're announcing it tonight then. So like the video, leave a comment. Let us know, what are you doing during the All-Star break to get rid of those withdrawals to play DFS basketball, because they're going to come on strong. And you'll have a chance to win an all-access membership with ownership projections, rankings, the deeper dive, all of our articles for all of our sports, and all the premium content behind paywall. It's our anniversary gift from us to you here at Awesemo. Thanks a lot for making it great over this first year, and it definitely has been. All right, Adam, Minnesota and Houston. Minnesota Timberwolves at home, 3.5-point dogs, 232 total. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games with a total of 232 or higher tonight. So this isn't exactly an exception, but it is expected to be a high-scoring game. And Towns faces a pretty undersized front court. Can we get Towns back on track here tonight against the Manimal?
It's as good a spot as you're going to get. I mean, it sucks that Teague and Rose are back, and Wiggins, I assume, is going to play because he went through shoot around. But it's a great spot for Towns. If Jokic weren't basically the same price, I would have a ton of Towns here. I know that Jokic is going to keep my Towns exposure down a bit, but I wouldn't fault anyone for playing him. I mean, it's a phenomenal spot. They've been one of the worst rebounding teams in the league since Capella went down. There's really no defensive answer that they have for Towns here either. So still really like Towns, even with a little bit of decreased usage and assist opportunities.
Yeah, so do I. The thing is, I have him behind Jokic. That doesn't mean that I won't have some, but definitely going to have him behind Jokic just based on that spot. For Nikola Jokic, it's too strong. It's just too strong. You mentioned the rebounding as well. This is a Houston team that, dude, Fareed has filled in admirably. Like, they'd be in really bad shape if they were relying, if D'Antoni and Morey and then were relying on Nene and still had Marcus Chris. Like, maybe their front court defense still isn't great with Fareed, but can you imagine how bad it would be if you didn't bring Fareed on and if you weren't giving him minutes? Like, they're allowing more rebounds than any other team to their opponents since Clint Capella went down. That would even be worse. Like, I can't imagine if you were splitting center minutes between Gary Clark, Nene, and Marcus Chris for a month plus. Amazing.
Yeah, it would be pretty ugly.
Do you have anybody else for Minnesota though? Dario Saric should remain in the starting lineup here, and I don't know, play 30 plus minutes.
Yeah, so I think Saric is really interesting here because I assumed I was going to love him today after he was put in the starting lineup last game. He played like 34 minutes despite early foul trouble. But the issue that I have is in that game, he picked up a bunch of minutes at the 3 with Andrew Wiggins out. I have trouble really assigning that many minutes to him here. I think that I have him for 30 minutes. I have Gibson for 20, so I threw him a couple minutes alongside Gibson, but that's it, assuming that Wiggins plays. So I have him at 30 minutes. I think that he's fine, but I think that there's just better plays that have opened up throughout the day. So I don't think I'll have a whole lot of him. Overall for this game, I'm kind of surprised how little I'm getting to. You're muted.
There we go. I had to get back to the page where I was muted. He played about 6 minutes next to Taj Gibson in that last game. So yeah. You're right. That could be, you could see a few minutes alongside him here, but a very good point that if Wiggins returns, that could bite into it a bit. Jeremy Lin is available to make his Raptors debut. So that is good. Now let's see what the starting lineup is. That'll be fun. I don't have a lot here. I'm not getting to Harden and Paul much. I'm not getting to Fareed. Like, Fareed's been a guy that if I ended up on him recently, I have no problem with it, Adam, because he's been very consistent, but not really giving you those monster games. I don't have any priorities here outside of Towns, and I don't even know how much I'm prioritizing him because I still have him behind Jokic.
Right. It's the same for me. James Harden, great. Chris Paul, great. But I have Paul behind other guys. I have Fareed behind other guys. You look to value like Eric Gordon or Gerald Green. They're both fine, but they're not, top plays for me either, even amongst value plays. So I expect that'll end up probably mostly with like Gordon and Green from this team, just kind of sprinkled in as value plays. And then I'll get to them more than anything else. But I don't expect anyone from this game to be highly owned for me.
Exactly.
Which is really scary.
Oh yeah, it's pretty terrifying. But you know what though? I said you got a lot of games. It's not like this is the only game that has a lot of scoring projected. There's still plenty of other games.
Yeah, I mean the last 2 games of the night, or I guess including the Denver game, I just have so much stuff.
Right, which is why I want to cruise through this next one. Dallas and Miami. We've got the Dallas Mavericks 3-point favorites, 208 total. This is the lowest total on the slate. For some reason, Doncic is now point guard small forward after a day or two at point guard shooting guard on DraftKings, but he's $8,800, $300 more than Russell, $98 on FanDuel, $1,000 more than Russell, $100 more than Beal. What are you doing with Dallas? I'll let you run this one. Go ahead.
Playing Luka. It scares me how highly I have him projected, but I can't find a way to get it lower. So I really like Luka, even though this game sucks. I think the price tag is still way too cheap on him. I have him behind Beal if Satoransky's out. I have him ahead of Beal if Satoransky's in. Dorian Finney-Smith at 4K, Powell at 4,400. They're both fine value plays, but Luka is the priority for me from Dallas.
Al Horford may have his minutes limited today. Huh? Who said that? Weird. This guy. Huh? So keep an eye on that. Let's see if we get anything definitive from Stevens. But honestly, I was already worried about that for Horford, so that just makes me less interested. With Miami, Dion Waiters. I don't know once we update our ownership projections. Let's see if we get an update here. What Waiters is going to look like, but he's been really popular. Okay, we got an update here. Waiters was like the 3rd highest. Now he's at 14%, so top 15 or so. Still high on DraftKings, way down there at 6% if he plays. Honestly, Adam, I won't take too much time on this. If Wade plays, I just at such a similar price to Waiters, like particularly on DraftKings, they're I think $500 separated. On FanDuel, Waiters is 58 and Wade is 57, so 500 there too. I'd rather just go to Wade, and here's why. With Tyler Johnson out, if Wade plays, I could see him getting 28, 29 minutes. I'll take 29 minutes over 30 of Wade from 33 or 34 from Waiters because Wade leads the team in usage. He leads the team in assist rate. He leads the team in per minute production behind only Jokic or Whiteside. I just think from a ceiling standpoint and ability to mitigate a poor shooting performance, I'll take Wade over Waiters any day, especially if Waiters is going to have double or triple the ownership. That's where I'm at here. What's your take on Miami?
Yeah, I'm with you. Wade was actually one of my favorite value plays today before he was downgraded to questionable after missing shoot around. So I'm assuming that he isn't going to play, in which case I like Waiters more and I like Winslow more. But if he does play, then I really like Wade as a value.
Me too. I mean, tell me you wouldn't take 28, 29 minutes from him over 33, 34 from Waiters. It's not really a question.
Yeah, I mean, I only had him projected for 26 minutes, and I still had him ahead of everyone on this team.
Wow. Okay. Interesting. I have him for let me see. I thought I had him for more. I have him for 28. And the reason for that is he got injured in that one game and still played 26 against Sacramento, the first game with Johnson out. He left in the first half and then came back. So he lost minutes there, then played 29 against Golden State and then 22 in a blowout loss to the Denver Nuggets. Or blowout. Yeah, it was a loss to the Nuggets. So I think that Wade, if this game stays competitive, gets up to 28, 29. But like you said, even at 26, you wouldn't be too disappointed. He only played 3.5 minutes into the fourth quarter in that blowout. They were down by 20 points at the time he came out. Anything else here? Or you want to move on?
Winslow's fine. Like I said, Whiteside in tournaments, but again, the position is just so deep that I don't have it as a priority.
All right. Denver and Sacramento. Sacramento 7-point road dogs, 232 total. Love Jokic. You said he's your favorite play on the day. He's mine as well. I don't even want to spend too much time on that because I want to make sure we get to everybody else, as long as everyone knows where we stand on Jokic. I also like Jamal Murray a lot, and I'm not opposed to Barton, but I do think that Barnes coming in makes it a little bit more difficult assignment, and Barton's just disappointed lately. But the floor is yours.
Yeah, you and me are in the same spot. Jokic is my favorite play on the slate from any team at any position. I really like Jamal Murray. I think that the price tag is too cheap. I don't think Isaiah Thomas coming back really hurts him. I expect that to take minutes from Monte Morris and or Beasley and or like potentially Trey Lyles, just as a kind of sliding down the line effect. And I only expect him to play like 12 or 13 minutes anyway. So I still really like Murray. I like Barton. I think the price tag is just too cheap. We saw 36 minutes 2 games ago. We saw 32 minutes last game. It's a great matchup against Sacramento. So all three of those guys, really, really stand out for me.
Agreed. Hey, by the way, if you don't win the All Access Pass, you can still get 50% off your first month of membership at awesemo.com. Just use the promo code Deeper Dive when you sign up. It's all one word, Deeper Dive. When you click join now, click the coupon code Deeper Dive, one word, 50% off, half off your first month at awesemo.com. So keep that in mind. You don't need to win, although that would be cool. You can still get 50% off your first month at awesemo.com. And we hope to see you there. That's where I'm at there. Bogdanovich, $4,900 on DraftKings is nice. By the way, Isaiah Thomas going to play for Denver. I don't know what those minutes look like. I'm not factoring it in, Adam. I still like Jamal Murray. What's your take on the Kings?
I don't really have much of anything. The rotation is just so flat right now. Bagley on smaller slates would be fine, but I don't see the need to get to him here. Same goes for Bogdanovich. Same goes for Barnes. I really have nothing.
Sounds good. I don't think a $4,900 Bogdanovich is bad on DraftKings. Just throwing it out there. That's sub 5K Bogdanovich. You could do worse, but now that you lose a player, you lose Shumpert, you lose Jackson, you gain Harrison Barnes. I still think Bogdanovich gets around 30 minutes. Don't hate him there, but clearly not a priority, and neither is anybody else.
I have him at 26 minutes.
Okay, that's where we're different. I have more than that. Phoenix and the Clippers, Adam. The LA Clippers at the Staples Center, 8.5-point favorites, 232 total. What do you got on LA here?
Really like Lou Williams. Played 34 minutes last game, 28 the game. But just monster usage and a huge assist percentage all season long without Tobias Harris on the floor, averaging about 1.4 points per minute in a great matchup against Phoenix. I have him projected for 28 minutes and still get him as a top play. If he plays more than that, then obviously it's even better. So I love him. Secondary plays, I think Harrell, Gallinari, Zubats, who I expect to be able to stay on the floor longer than he did against Karl Anthony Towns last game. And it's still 4K, I think is perfectly fine. But Lou is the one that really, really stands out to me at just 7,100 on DraftKings.
All right. On the other side, I love DeAndre Ayton here, Adam. I just don't see any reason not to like him. He's playing 33 minutes per game since he returned from injury. But not only that, you've actually seen some improvements elsewhere. His usage, Ayton's usage is at 26%, 25%, 17% rebounding, 1.09 fantasy points per minute, almost 33 minutes per game. I'm not worried about Zubats coming in for Gortat. I see it as a lateral move defensively, and Harrell should play most of the minutes anyway. Clippers just so bad against opposing centers. I fully expect to have a lot of Ayton tonight, especially at $6,700 on DraftKings.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I have to say negative about Ayton is that we have him projected to be one of the most popular plays on the slate at a position that's really, really deep. So I think if he does come in around like 30% owned, there's probably a good chance that I'm right around the field, and then I'm just overweight on a lot of other centers.
We have him at 18% right now, so I didn't think it was all that bad. Yeah, I didn't think it was too bad.
Then I'll probably end up over that.
Yeah, I mean, we have Jokic under 20. Like, everything's spread out a lot, which is why I'm not as worried. But I agree. Had it been different and he had been as high as he was, then yeah. We have one more game to get to. So where else are you at on Phoenix? Ayton is my preferred play here. Maybe some Oubre in tournaments, but
yeah, Ayton's my top guy from Phoenix. Devin Booker's fine. I have him behind Lou Williams on the other side. I have him behind Doncic and Beal, especially if Satoransky misses. But I still think that he's a good shooting guard play.
All right, and last game here. By the way, remember to be eligible for that membership, all you gotta do, like the video and comment down below. Let us know what you're doing during the All-Star break to get by not having NBA. Blazers 3-point dogs. I think they win this game outright. Warriors second of a back-to-back, 234.5 total. highest on the slate. Nurkic to me is just too cheap on DraftKings, Adam.
Yeah, I agree. And he's already played Golden State a few times this year. He's played 32 minutes in his most recent game. He played 35 minutes the game before that. So I'm sure there are people in the chat that I'm not reading right now saying that you can't play centers, but he's been perfectly fine staying out there.
Yep. And Cousins was not there for those games, and he won't be there for this game either. So that's even more reason to take those numbers into consideration.
Right. So, yeah, not worried about him at all. The only thing is that the position's deep, but I still really like him. I also love Damian Lillard's DraftKings price tag. There's a big difference between FanDuel and DraftKings in his price today, but 8,600 on DraftKings, absolutely love. And then Al-Farouq Aminu at 4,500, I think also is a pretty reasonable value play. I expect around 30 minutes from him again tonight because he has plenty of guys to defend.
What about the Warriors?
Kevon Looney's my favorite value play on the entire slate. I have him projected for 30 minutes with Cousins out. In his last two starts, he played 24 minutes in a blowout where he didn't play at all in the fourth, and then he played 30 minutes in the next game. I have him at 30 here. Really, really like him. And then without Cousins on the floor over the last month, Steph has a 33.8% usage rate. He's averaged about 1.5 fantasy points per minute. Durant has about a 30% usage rate, so it's a bump for both of them. Steph really comes in as a top play for me. Draymond Green and Clay more secondary options at their positions.
Well, there you have it. 11 game slate. Good luck, everybody, tonight. Hopefully you enjoyed this show. We enjoyed being here with you. We'll see you back here tomorrow to take you into the All-Star break on a deeper dive. Thanks as always for watching. We'll see you back here tomorrow.